Hello, Rasa.
Hello, Dad.
How are you today?
I'm great.
We are not in our usual recording studio. Where are we?
We are outside.
In our own backyard. And that's
Yep.
because we have a very special guest. Who is it, Rasa?
Grandpa Smith.
Can you say hi, Grandpa?
Hi, Grandpa.
Are you ready to know everything?
I hope so.
Okay, let's do it.
Today, I wanted to share one of the most important things that I have ever been taught by my father, your grandpa, who's sitting with us right now.
Wow, what is it?
There are so many things I have learned from Grandpa, but I am thinking of a particular time a few years ago when we were having a big dinner at our house, and we had to borrow tables and chairs. And Grandpa said, I will drive with you and help you pack up the tables and chairs. Do you remember this, Grandpa?
Yes, I certainly do. It was a fun errand. I seem to remember looking down into a basement.
Now, he says he looked down into a basement, and he's absolutely right, because we filled our car with tables and chairs, and we had just the right number -1. And we got to the last place, and we looked down the stairs of the place, and there was the last chair at the bottom of the basement, but there was a sign, and it said, you cannot enter the basement if you are not authorized personnel. And the authorized personnel said, I can't even enter the basement. I'm not authorized enough. And I said, what? No, really? It can't be. I'm sweaty. I'm tired. I'm stressed. We've been driving around.
We need one more chair.
And I was so mad. And I was so sad. And guess what? Guess whether we got the chair or not, Rasa?
Did you?
Did we, Grandpa?
No.
We did not get the chair. We ended up still one chair short, and we're driving away. And this is the thing I needed to share with you. This is what I think about. This is the lesson from Grandpa. I was clutching the steering wheel, and I was just snorting and holding my breath at the same time somehow. And Grandpa looked to me as if a little bit afraid to say anything, but he said, if it's any comfort at all, I don't think it had anything to do with you. And it was like all the air went out of my angry balloon. And all the air went out of my mad balloon and my sad balloon. And I could just breathe again. And it was like, yeah, this sign was there before this person. And this person was having whatever day they were having. And they'd had whatever experiences they'd had. And for whatever reason, there was a reason that there was a sign. And for whatever reason, this person felt beholden to the sign more than me. And it wasn't personal. It wasn't the world being out to get me. It was just the world being the world. So that's what I wanted to share from him to me, to you, and maybe back to him and to everyone else listening to us. If you're having a hard time, if things are in your way, if you get cut off in traffic, if the clerk says, sorry, can't do, if your own family seems to be an obstacle or an enemy, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe, if it's any comfort, it doesn't have anything to do with you. And Grandpa, do you remember the big feast dinner that followed?
Oh, it was wonderful. And I don't recall missing the chair.
I don't recall missing the chair either. I remember all the worry and stress of not having that chair, and I remember the pleasure of the event, but somehow the extra chair magically appeared or magically wasn't needed, and it all worked out after all, as it so often does.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
thank you, Grandpa.
Well, you're very welcome. I wish I could take my own lessons sometime.
We'll all work on it together. And I want to say, when I'm here with you and we invited you and we love you, that is personal. It is about you.
Sure is.
Are you ready for today's poem?
I am ready for today's poem.
Excellent. Grandpa picked it out. It is a bit long, so you're going to give it a good read for us all, okay?
Okay.
Grandpa, can you tell us the name of the poem you picked and the author?
Caged Bird by Maya Angelou.
Okay. Here it goes. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
Grandpa, why did you pick that poem?
Well, I was thinking of that poem partly because it seemed very appropriate in our times when we're talking about who has rights and who doesn't have rights. And it was very poignant, the idea of the bird singing, that someone who is denied something understands it better than someone who has it.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's very wise.
It says the free bird thinks of breezes and sighing trees and fat worms and the sky. The free bird's just thinking about vacation, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And the caged bird is thinking and singing about freedom.
The free bird takes freedom for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that experience ever where when you don't have something, you appreciate it more than when you do?
Of course.
What are some examples?
Well, for one, school.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore.
When school got canceled or went remote, all of a sudden you appreciated the line for lunch?
Yeah.
What are things that you do have now that maybe we can stop and see it from that perspective and we can appreciate it?
Get to spend more time with you.
And I get to spend more time with you. I appreciate that too.
Mm-hmm.
And this weekend, who else?
Grandma and Grandpa.
Thanks for joining us.
It's a great pleasure to be here. It's almost as much fun as just listening.
Last segment of the show, Grandpa. Do you have a vexing question for me?
I sure do, and it's prompted by you.
Oh, boy. What is it?
It comes from your love of and fascination with bubbles. What makes bubbles hold together, and then why do they pop?
Wow, that's a great question. I'll look it up and get back to you. Okay, I'm back and I've got the answer to your question.
Can't wait.
Soap bubbles are made up of two types of molecules: soap molecules and water molecules. Water molecules make bonds between each other that results in a strong surface. Then, the ends of soap molecules stick out from the water molecules and hold the bubbles together. And that is how bubbles hold together. Now, as for why they don't pop, a bubble won't pop as long as the water that is inside it is trapped beneath layers of soap. It will pop, though, when water that is inside it is lost in some way. If the bubble touches a dry finger, for example, it pops because the water molecules are attracted to dry skin. As long as the water stays trapped inside the bubbles, it shouldn't pop. But as soon as you touch it with a dry finger, or it lands on the kitchen counter, pop, it goes away.
Wow.
It's an example of you got to keep your insides on your insides and your outsides on your outsides.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to pop.
You Must Know Everything is produced by me, Jeremy Smith, and her, Rasa Smith, with awesome music by Furniture. Learn more and submit your own vexing questions at our website, youmustknoweverything.com, and hear dozens of previous episodes for free. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Android, Spotify, or however you like to listen. Please rate, review, and share the show with friends. And please join us next time for everything you need to know.